Anyway, let's watch Scott Jennings use one word to describe the president that's completely changed the tone of the discussion and perfectly sums up why CNN hates it when Scott's in the building. Let's go.
If you're conscious of the need to protect classified information, you remember what the rules are. If I had done at the State Department what Hillary Clinton did, I'd be wearing an orange jumpsuit now. You simply don't use commercial means of communication, whether it's supposedly an encrypted app or not, for these kinds of discussions.
So Scott Jennings, I think he was likely referencing Signal, which is an encrypted app. But if he is using AOL, a commercial service, he's doing exactly what he says you shouldn't do.
Yeah, I mean, he's been around a very long time, and
the AOL address indicates that he's been around a very long time.
And he's an attorney and has held all these positions, and so he full well knows what the rules are. And so I'm like everybody else. I presume him to be innocent. I want to see what the evidence is. Based on the reporting, there were lots of documents in his house that had classified markings on them. Based on the reporting, this email account could be problematic. And I think something that was said earlier is vital to know. This has been going on for years. I think this investigation started during the Biden administration. And so here you have an investigation spanning administrations of both political parties. I think that should tell you how seriously the Department of Justice takes this. And when we're dealing with national security information, they ought to take it seriously. And he's obviously been in contact with a lot of it in his career.
I do want to.
Approval rating on the economy is lower than it ever was in his first term. And he gives the impression that his energy and fervor and, passion is on these other problems, going after his enemies, more than finding a way to reduce. Like, what can he point to today, Scott, that would give a voter who voted for him because they thought Biden had let costs get out of control? What can he point to today where he is kind of like has his sleeves rolled up and he's working to make their life more affordable, as opposed to kind of focusing on going through his checklist of people he wants to get even with?
Well, just this summer, the big, beautiful bill froze and made permanent the tax cuts that he passed in the first term. That's number one. Inflation rates, it's just not accurate to say he hasn't made any progress on that. Inflation rates today are much, much lower than they were under Biden. But on the world stage, just this week, he went out and did something that I don't think anybody else could have done. He made the world a safer place. And so I just fundamentally disagree with you. I think people see an active presidency. I think they see him working on a bunch of different issues at once. The border is closed. Energy is flowing. I mean, a lot of things that he ran on, the promises that he made, he's checking them off one by one. And I think most Republicans are more than happy with the results. The people who voted for him, I think, are very happy with the results of it.
I think I think it's true. He has made a lot of progress on areas of of his priority. The one where he is not is that people do not feel their cost of living is getting more affordable. That was the core promise that got him elected, and I think that he does face the risk that he seems to have taken his eye off that ball.
I just think that the merits of you said we shouldn't focus on the merits of these cases. The merits of the cases are all that matter inside of a grand jury. The grand jurors look at evidence. The merits of each individual case must be examined. This one especially. I mean, if it goes back as long as we think.
There's a lot of...
Bill Brennan, I feel like I see your lips moving on my monitor over here. Were you trying to get in? You want a quick last word?
The congressman, and it raises a lot of great issues, a lot of deflection. I thought we were here to talk about Bolton. The issue with Ambassador Bolton is whether or not a high government official who comes out of the national security, column. It's not like he was running EPA, who has made public statements that if you do something like this, you should be in an orange jumpsuit. If in fact he did these things, it's a problem, and you can't blame President Trump for this one, because the U.S. attorney supervising it, I believe, is a President Biden appointee. And I think the line prosecutor, I think it's Sullivan, I'm not sure, is a seasoned professional in the national security unit. So, I mean, this is a long-term 4 or 5 year investigation that spans several administrations. And this is one particular investigation you can't pin on Donald Trump's enemies list, so to speak.
What I hope you got out of that is sometimes I need a refresher when I hear names or stories that I remember but don't remember all the details. So hopefully I'm not the only viewer out there that has to look stuff up. Anyway, John Bolton was Trump's national security advisor in 2018. They butted heads almost from day one. Bolton's a foreign policy hawk, wanted hardline action on Iran and Syria, where Trump preferred what you've come to expect from him, leverage and negotiation. That tension reached a boiling point when Bolton left, then published a tell-all book in 2020, and that's the one the White House is saying included classified material. Fast forward to this year, the FBI raided his home and office, claiming he'd kept and even sent sensitive defense information through personal accounts. So anyway, yeah, he's been indicted under the Espionage Act, 18 counts including transmission and unlawful retention of classified information. And of course, depending on who you ask, this is either long overdue accountability or political payback against one of Trump's loudest critics. I happen to think it's a little bit of both.